We know that the area of any circle is pi times the square of its radius. But where does this come from? Let's prove it. Say we have a circle centered at the origin with radius r. The equation of this circle would be x squared plus y squared equals r squared. We want to find the area of this circle, and what better tool to use than integration? But to do that, we need to express this curve as a function, y equals f of x, so that we can then go and integrate y dx to find the area. To find y in terms of x, we'll take x squared to the other side, and then take the square root of both sides. Don't forget the plus or minus, of course. The positive square root represents the upper semicircle, and the negative square root represents the lower half. We can actually integrate either of these and then just use symmetry to find the area of the entire circle. For example, if we were to take the positive square root and integrate this from negative r to r, we would be finding the area of the upper semicircle. So the entire area would be 2 times this integral. Agreed? Even better, we can restrict our attention to 1/4 of the circle, so integrate from 0 to r, and then multiply the result by 4, giving us the area of the entire circle. Aligned? Ready? Let's solve this integral. Okay. Some of you may already recognize the antiderivative, but this is a very good chance to demonstrate trigonometric substitution. Looking at the integrand, we're reminded of the Pythagorean theorem, because if we had a right triangle with hypotenuse r and leg x, then the other leg would be the square root of r squared minus x squared by a simple application of the Pythagorean theorem. Say we call this angle theta. Then sine theta would be x over r, and cosine theta would be the square root of r squared minus x squared all over r. So this will allow us to take the integral from the x world to the theta world. To do this, we have to find dx to replace it in the integral. If we multiply both sides by r, we have x equals r sine theta. So differentiating both sides, we get dx equals r cosine theta d theta. And this will go instead of dx in the integral. For the square root of r squared minus x squared, we'll substitute r cosine theta as given by this equation. Okay, so the integral becomes r cosine theta times r cosine theta d theta, or r squared cosine squared theta. R squared is just a constant, it's not a function of theta, so we can take this outside the integral. But now notice that the bounds of integration are in terms of x, not theta. To convert them to theta, we'll use the substitution we used. When x is equal to 0, either r or sine theta must be 0. But we know that r is the radius of the circle, so this cannot be 0. Meaning that sine theta must be the 0 term, or in other words, theta is 0, because that's when the sine is 0, at least the first time. So this is the lower bound of theta. Looking at the upper bound now, when x is equal to r, sine theta must be equal to 1, which first happens when theta is equal to pi over 2. So this must be the upper bound for theta. Okay. Now to integrate cosine squared, we'll use the double angle identity for cosine, which some people like to call the power reduction formula. Cosine squared theta is 1/2 cosine 2 theta plus 1. So we can replace that in the integral. Take the 1/2 outside the integral, reducing 4 to 2. And then we can find the antiderivative easily. We'll get 1/2 sine 2 theta plus theta. And then we'll plug in the bounds 0 to pi over 2. When theta is 0, sine 2 theta will be 0. So the lower bound will cancel out entirely. When theta is pi over 2, sine 2 theta will be sine pi, which is also 0, leaving us with only pi over 2 to multiply by 2r squared. The 2 and 2 cancel out, and we arrive at the result a is equal to pi r squared. So there you have it.